Welcome back to the Witch's Way podcast. I'm Kat.
And I'm Jayme.
And this is episode 73 of our podcast. And we've got a couple of quick updates for you.
The first one?
First of all, we want to remind you that we have a witch school on our website called The Witch's Path, and that it's available to you either as an entire course for $222. That gets you the whole course. And I don't even remember how many hours of videos it is.
It's over
10 hours. It's so much content.
It's so much. But it could be a one-time fee. I know this a little bit better, so I'm going to take over. Is that okay?
Okay, go ahead.
Okay. Because I don't want her to struggle because I'm the one that ends up doing all of this. But it's hard for me to talk about it, you guys. I'm still, I don't know. It's just hard to talk about. But here's the way that we set it up. We wanted to make the course accessible to more witches. And if somebody can move really fast, I thought, let's do a subscription, right? Like a monthly subscription part. So for $33 a month, you can do the monthly subscription and work your way through the course. But if you feel like you're going to take longer than like 6 months, then it's $22 to buy the course one time. And then you just have it and you can work on it as much as you want. $222. What did I say?
$22.
Love that. Love it. See where we're 222 and 33. And 33. Using numerology here.
Because we love numbers, you know.
Have to. But that's the way that we design the school now, so that it's just more accessible and then people can choose what works for them.
Yep.
Because our whole thing is just like bringing this to our community.
And also the subscription, you can cancel anytime. So you can go in, $22, check it out and be like,
$33.
I'm sorry.
This is how together we have our shit.
We are together. Yeah. We just, we don't have this part down very well. But the other thing is to remind you, witchworkscoven.com is the website.
Yes.
And also, I think we talked about this last time. We're doing a monthly witches circle.
Locally here in Sarasota,
here
Florida.
At our home. So there's three of us that are rotating.
Yeah.
One further north near Bradenton would be in Bradenton area, and then of course down here we've
got sort of the Sarasota then Venice area.
Sarasota, Venice. But so we want to put it out
any
to
local witches.
If you're a local witch,
or if you're going to be visiting.
Yeah, if you're going to be visiting,
hit us up. If you're going to come to Sarasota, Florida on vacation one month,
for sure.
We have it about the third week of the month, roughly.
Yeah, but you know what? If you're going to come to Sarasota for a visit, you need to hit us up because we want to meet you.
We'll just do a special lunch with you.
We want to meet you.
There doesn't have to be a meeting involved.
Yeah,
just let us know you're coming. We'll be like, sweet, where do you want to meet at? Like, you want to grab a coffee? You want to go to the beach? What do you want to do? We'll go to
the beach. We'll, do a sunset. We'll sit by the fire or something.
Absolutely. So please, if you're going to be in the Sarasota area, please hit us up.
Please reach out.
We would love to meet you guys.
Then
community is our biggest thing.
7greensisters@gmail.com. You can email us.
Email us. Leave comments on the video. I'm always looking. I have my notifications set up very well.
Okay. All right. So this is episode 73. And this is, I had something happen to me this week, and I came home. I was out of town and came home from a meeting, and I was telling Jayme about it. And after talking through it, we realized, or Jayme kind of pointed out, that what's happened in the revelation that I had around that was like, this is a year of recognizing patterns. This is a year that we're going to recognize and we're going to break patterns that are in our life. And I have had so this is, so in the last year, I've lost like 60 pounds, right? So all of a sudden, I'm jumping right in.
You go right in, girl.
I'm jumping right in.
Get it.
So in the last year, I've lost 60 pounds. And, for years before that, I've been significantly overweight to the point where, most men, I'm not their cup of tea, right? But now that I weigh 140 pounds and I'm a size 10, I'm getting more attention. So I went to, I had a work thing in Kansas City this week and got in on Sunday and checked into the hotel, and nobody was around. So I looked out the window and there was a little pizza place, Martin City Pizza in Kansas City, that I could see. And I was like, I'm going to go there. I'm just going to go there and have something to eat. And so I went there and I started talking to a guy at the bar, and he was, because I like to sit at the bar so I can talk to people. And he was nice. He seemed like a nice guy. We sat there and talked for about an hour. It was mostly just about like, kids and, just life stuff. Nothing
surface level
very
stuff.
surface,
Yeah.
nothing deep. He was, I wasn't hot for him, some guys I see and I'm like, damn, they're like, they're like
Clamberger starts talking.
I'm like, damn, kind of like that thing, like, oh shit. And then I'm checking out everything, like the package and all that,
Lord.
once I see the face, I'm like with the up and down,
I
terrible.
have never stared at a man's package.
It's true. Sorry.
I don't know.
Literally, I can't help myself.
That's okay. We're all different. Listen.
Like Jayme said,
the clamberger starts talking. It's like, oh, I see it in my next meal.
Yeah. So it wasn't I didn't have any feelings like that. It was just like a friendly thing. Right. But anyway, I left there that night. I was probably there for about an hour and I left him and was just like, hey, bye. His name was John. So 2 nights later, I went back there because I wanted to eat again. It was the last night and we were all on our own for dinner. And so I was like, I had gone out and tried to do some shopping and there was I'm just going to say Amazon has ruined in-store shopping for me. And I don't know if you guys agree with that, but anyway, so I had no luck driving around Kansas City looking for boots because I thought I might get lucky there. But anyway, I go back, right? And I'm sitting at the bar and there was a bunch of people on the corner. And when all the people got up and left, there was John sitting there 2 seats down from me. And I was like, oh, hey, so he's like, can I join you? Yeah. So, so we're talking and about an hour or so goes by and things are, I'm trying to learn more about him. So I'm like, I need to connect with people on a deeper level. So I try to, if they're willing to reveal themselves to me, I'm more than willing to try to draw it out of them.
Personal close questions, but
I didn't but anyway, at one point, he said something about, okay, so this is where I'm going to get into admitting things that I realize that I did that are probably patterns from my whole life, the way I've interacted with men. But at one point he said something about, oh, I know what it was. I was eating something and I was like, yeah, the little fat girl in me is just so happy right now or something like that. And he said something about my body and you're not fat and you look really, I don't know what he said exactly, but under my breath, he said something about how I looked and under my breath, I'm like, yeah, not when I don't have clothes on or something like that. Something about how I, a reference to what I look like out of clothes under my breath to the side. So I don't know if he heard it, but I'm telling you this because as what happens later is then I'm analyzing. So I'll go on. So that happened. And then when I got ready to leave, he wanted to know if he could walk me back to the hotel. And I was like, sure.
And where does he live? Why is he at this place?
Yeah, he's at the place because this is a dual use area where they've got restaurants and stores and stuff. No, it's not the Legends. Oh. It's in Mission. It's at Mission Road. I was thinking it was the Legends. Yeah, no, it's at Mission Road, and I forget what it's called. That area is called right there. But if you're in Kansas City, it's Mission Road and 435. Even though that's not an exit, but if you live there, you'll know what I'm talking about. So that area right there, and it was Martin City Pizza, by the way, for anybody that knows Martin City Pizza from the Kansas.
Find John out. What the fuck?
Please don't go find John. Okay. So anyway, I told him, and there was no chemistry between us. I didn't feel like there was anything, there was no electricity, if you will.
But he was there because he lives above. Use?
Yeah, there's a condos above this place.
So then he was going to walk you back to your hotel.
Yeah, and then he would just walk to his place because he lives above the restaurant, basically, which is a bunch of condominiums and stuff.
Okay.
So he walked me down the street, and when we got in front of the hotel, I know something. I don't know if it was on the walk over that he said, but somewhere towards the end of all of this, he mentioned something about sex, and I was just like, what the fuck? I can't even remember how I responded because it made me so uncomfortable. I'm thinking to myself, what the fuck, what?
Well, that's why I asked where he lived, because imagine two people meet at a restaurant, but it's near a hotel. So they're all sort of transient people. Right. And being in the military, man, I'll tell you what, you pull into port and all the men are like running to these places where they can sleep with women and then get on a boat and never look at them again. And that's what it made me think of, is like, well, why is this guy down there in this place? And then why did he want to walk you to the hotel? If he knows you're transient, like I just think he felt like he had this
I don't know.
or
Yeah,
something.
I'm not really sure because, like I said, there was no sparks flying.
Yeah.
There was no. I didn't. Oh, I know what happened at the end of toward the end of I gave him my phone number and I was like, let's, here, take my phone number, and then, I mean, I thought we could be friends. I thought I could get to know somebody. That's where my mind was. Like, here's my phone number.
Because she's going to be coming back up to Kansas City.
Yeah,
she just found out her new role is going to take you back up there a couple times a year.
Every quarter. I'll be back in Kansas City every quarter. So I was like, I'm going to be back in April and, let's exchange numbers. And I mean, he's been to Florida. They used to come to Florida. He was married and he has 2 daughters, that are in their 20s. And his wife died of cancer, breast cancer, like 8 years ago.
So it didn't feel flirtatious. It felt like something like a solid person that you could just hang out with.
Yeah, and he seemed like a decent guy. Yeah. I mean, he told me like his background. He worked in the legal field. He used to do whatever he did in the legal field. He wasn't a lawyer, but he did some kind of support work for attorneys for trials and things like that. And he'd had that business, and he's retired, and he's 61. And I said that's really early. And he's like, I didn't want to retire. And then we got into, he had to because his wife died and his daughters were 15 and 18 when that happened. And so he had, everybody was falling apart. So he had to quit working and take care of his family. So anyway, so I had given him my phone. We'd exchanged phone numbers, first and last name, all that. Oh shit, he's got my last name. I just realized that.
Oh shit, your real last name.
My real last name.
But I just, the important part about that, as you're telling the story, is that there wasn't this like super flirtatious conversation.
There was nothing like that.
It wasn't this like giddy, haha, kiki, like all laughing at the bar. Like you're talking about serious shit in life and how you've kind of dealt with it, and that you're both in this. I don't know if men have a crone age. I don't know what the fuck they become when they get older, but whatever it is, at 61, he's kind of in this retirement place, and here you are. Working, and like you're coming back. And did you tell him about your job or anything? I talked to him about, I talked about what I did and stuff like that. And even that, I plan to work for a couple of more years and then I would, I'd be done working too. So, but if you tell me the story, that's what I feel. I'm like, it didn't seem super flirtatious for him. So for him to mention like sex.
For him to mention sex, I thought was really just out.
Well, it made you uncomfortable.
It made me uncomfortable, which it always does because I'm never quite sure how to respond, to people. So anyway, we get to
he walks you to your hotel.
Me to my hotel.
Not your hotel room though.
Oh no, outside the door, just out, because I stopped when we got close to the front door. I stopped there and I was like, oh, well, goodbye, and I was like, and I just a friendly hug. I was like, okay, I'll give you a hug. Then he's like, can I kiss you? And I was like, yeah. Again, with the like uncomfortable, can't find my voice, had to say something that now I feel kind of ashamed, like I'm shy or some bullshit like that. Whatever the fuck I said, something to blow him off, right? But as soon as I walked away from him, I was mad at myself. I was mad that I didn't handle it better. I was mad that I wasn't more direct. And he sent me a text afterward and he's like, I'm sorry if I made you uncomfortable. And I'm like, yeah, fuck off. That's what I'm thinking. I'm just going to block, just delete it, block him and all that stuff. And, so because of course, now I don't know about you guys and I don't know even about you if you do this, but if you replay conversations in your mind and how you might have said something different or how you might have handled it. I do this all the time. It's like a movie that goes through and what things I would have said if I'd been able to find my voice at that moment.
What you wish you would have done.
What I wish I would have done. What I wish I would have said. How I wish I would have handled it. How I could have handled it better. I guess that's the thing. Like instead of doing, acting like I was shy, I could have been more direct about it. Instead of saying something dumb like I'm shy, which is not true. I'm not shy.
What did you really want to say?
Really, dude? Really, dude, I've been eating onions. Fuck
Oh,
no.
Lord.
And
That's
I
great.
didn't want to kiss him though. I was like, that was the thing. I was like, ew, no. I mean,
I would have loved if you would have had that reaction to him. Imagine he's like, "Can I kiss you?" And you're like, "Ew, no. Oh, what? Ew." Like he would never fucking do that to another woman again.
Well, okay.
He'd be scarred.
So here's where, so anyway, all that's going to come into it, I think, because when you start thinking back on a situation like that happened, because it did make me uncomfortable. It made me it turned very awkward, very quick. And I really didn't know how to handle it. So I went to my room and then I was mad at him and mad at myself and just, ruminating over what could have been different. And again, on my way, I flew home the next day and then I'm driving home because I'm going to Jayme's house because she's got my dog and my grandson. And I'm heading to her house, driving down from the airport. And of course, the conversation is still playing in my head, right? And at one point, the conversation was, he said something, and I was like, "No, sir," is what I could have said to him, right? And I realized those were Jayme's words. She had just said, and I didn't think about them being Jayme's word, but she had just had something happen with her.
Yeah.
Where a guy tried to hit her up for her phone number in the grocery store. And she just looked at him as you.
My story? Yeah, sure. But part of this is just that I've changed the way I dress and the way I carry myself, and I'm not making myself small anymore. I know you guys have heard this, and it's a continuation from like last week or last podcast. And my whole story is just not shrinking anymore because I'm scared to be seen or whatever.
So she's going out looking really hot all the time.
It's not that hot. It's not that I'm hot.
It's very attractive.
It's very curated. How about that?
Okay. It is curated.
It's curated.
And she
I
looks
look amazing.
Stand up.
I love it.
No, you can't see her boots. Just thigh high.
Oh, you said stand up. Like, actually, I thought you said I look stand up, like a stand up guy.
No, I was going to say stand up, but they're not going to be able to see your boots. But
no.
She's got these.
I know. You keep telling me is to like take pictures or little videos, so I put them on Instagram so people can see the outfits.
Yes, please do.
Oh my
Can you
gosh.
please start doing that?
I don't know. You know what? If I have 10 people tell me they'd like to see my outfits after watching this, then I would do it.
Well, listen.
Just 10.
No, I think, you know what? Actually, I think you should like name your day.
Name my day?
Yeah, like name your vibe. What's your vibe today?
Oh, fuck. Okay.
I mean, maybe you can do it like that.
I'm going to work up the courage too. I am. But
she's so cute. She's so cute, and it's almost always a skirt or a dress and a long.
Because that's what I'm comfortable in.
Super boho-y.
I have very long legs, and I have no torso, so like accenting my legs works for me.
Okay. So anyway, she's in the grocery store.
I'm in the grocery store, and I actually had a really annoying fucking time in the grocery store. It's like everybody was in front of me, holding me up, stopping in front of things. I couldn't get the shit I needed. But the whole time I'm singing in my head the Taylor Swift song Opalite, right? Like dancing through the lightning strikes and just like, don't let this bother you, Jayme. Like, it's fine. People are going to annoy you, but like, don't even give in to that. Keep like singing your song in your head. Keep dancing to your own beat. Like, be yourself. Don't let this shit deter you from being happy, from like, still being in a good mood. I didn't want all the little annoyances. Now,
which is some really good witchy vibe things to do, right? If you're in a situation where people are really annoying you, you can change that annoyance into something positive by thinking about something else, and having a song that you really love playing in your head.
Right,
so you can just be like doing your own thing and jamming. Keep your vibe,
Because I know that if I get annoyed, I really do sort of like shut down, and I don't want to shut down anymore when I'm out in public. Like, I want to be open because at any moment a witch could walk into my purview, and I want to talk to her.
But that's not what happened. A man walked into her purview.
A man saw me, and he felt like he needed to say something to me.
Well, go ahead.
So for me, I'm like, in my happy little vibe, I'm out of the store, and there's this in the Publix parking lot. They've made like this center aisle that you walk down. So when I park, I want to be like not walking down the car aisle. I want to walk down the sidewalk aisle, right? Which is in front of the store. So I'm walking out, and I'm proud of myself because I still feel good. I'm going to go home in a good mood, and I'm like, I fucking maintain that. And I'm like, internally, I'm smiling. And I know that I think that this is part of the reason why, people will talk to you because they can feel your energy is also positive, right? So I'm like, I'm
Sure,
shining
absolutely.
my light. I'm still shining my light. So I get that too. And here comes this little, I said little. I don't need to put him down.
Right.
But
yeah.
I do not want to insult this guy because he didn't do anything necessarily wrong, but it's the implications. I'm walking down the aisle and he's walking up and I can see him as he sees me. He starts to get this really, his grin or his look. It's just like his smile builds and I like glance, but I'm like, no, I got my eye on my car. I'm walking to my car. I'm very focused. And then I see him start to like open his mouth and say something. And I'm like, okay, I'm that weird person that's always like, oh my God, my skirt is tucked into my pantyhose and my underwear is showing or something, or I have toilet paper on my shoe, or somebody's about to tell me something embarrassing about myself that I don't know. Are you kidding? I'm not kidding. All the time. I have this weird, it was probably because I was really bullied in high school. So I was always afraid of like being made fun of for something. I carry that into adulthood with me where somebody's going to be like, they come up to me and they're like, ma'am. And I'm all like, yeah, hey, hi. And they're like, you have toilet paper on your shoe or, you're something is falling off of you or like there's something on your face.
You have a hole in your pants.
Yeah. I don't know. Like, did you know your pants are split open in the back and everyone can see your underwear? Like, I don't know why I think that's going to happen to me. It's the weirdest fear. But so I do pay attention as people talk and he sort of like slows and stops. So I stop and he goes, can I just tell you, you look amazing in your outfit. That was the way he said it. I look amazing in my outfit. Like, I feel like he complimented my outfit. So that felt really good. He wasn't like, you're so fucking hot. Like, it wasn't a disgusking compliment. It was a compliment of my outfit.
It wasn't a come on.
Yeah,
with this guy, there was no come ons until
he seemed genuine. And he, like I gave him a half second glance and because then I told my sister about this and she grilled me. What did he look like? What was his hair? What was his face? What do you remember? How tall was he wearing? I was like, oh my, I didn't take all that information in. I don't know. But so he says this nice compliment to me and all I said was, thank you so much for saying that. And then I just continued walking and he goes a couple steps further and stops and turns. And so, of course, I noticed that he stopped and I was like, he's not going to watch me walk away. Is he? Like, that's fucking weird. But then he goes, is there any way I could have your number? And I said, no, sir. And then I just kept walking. I was like, and you fucked it up. Like, I could have just had this compliment and it would have been great. And we could have continued on.
I think to say, and now, so when I'm coming back from the airport and I'm again ruminating over this and I realized no, sir, would have been a really good response to have to either one of the comments that he made when he made the comment about sex or when he made, or when he said, can I kiss you? I could have said, no, sir. And instead I acted like a shy little girl, which really fucking annoys me.
And what I imagine in that moment for you, because like, I feel like I really got a visual image of what was happening to you is I feel like you sort of crumpled.
I did.
Did that body posture happen where you sort of like crumpled in a little bit?
I absolutely did. Yeah. Absolutely. Yeah.
I'm very familiar with the crumpling when we don't feel safe or we're not sure. And this brought up such a big thing when we started talking about it, and I hope it's okay if I bring it up right now because I didn't know where you were going with the rest of your story.
No, I think now I'm at the part where you know what happened, and now I've spent the time ruminating about it, questioning myself.
Yeah,
what did I do? Analyzing what
you're blaming yourself.
Analyzing too. Like. What did I do to bring this on? And then that makes me mad.
That's blame.
That upsets me because I'm like, then I'm just looking at my behaviors. Okay, was I giving him signals? What did I do? What did I do
to lead this guy on
to bring this on? Because as far as I was concerned, nothing in our interactions up to that point I didn't feel like I was given any vibes that I was interested in the guy because I truly wasn't. I was just being friendly.
But the one thing you didn't do, which was hard at the bar when he said something, was that you didn't immediately give him the like, no.
Yeah,
because what did he said something about you looking good, and it wasn't like
it was lascivious,
Ooh, you had to find that word for me, lascivious.
When they're kind of like, like you look good, kind of like suggestive.
Ew.
It was suggestive.
Ew.
It was a little on the suggestive side. Okay. I mean, as soon as a man like does this to you and does the up and down thing, you know where their fucking head is, right?
Well, and then that's when I just feel like in my own life, then it is no longer about me having a soul. It's like, if my body didn't even have a soul, I bet you'd fuck it. Like, that's how ridiculous it feels to me. I know that's very crude, you guys, but that is how I have felt many times in my life, where people didn't see me as a person. They saw me as like something that they could, like that's, and it really fucks with you, with relationships, with being seen in the world, with like wanting to have confidence in yourself. Like,
yeah. And I think I interrupted do you remember what you were going to say a minute ago?
No.
Okay, so I'm gonna go ahead. Well, here's no, because you were gonna say something when you said that you didn't know where my story was going, and just that that's the stuff that happened, and then what's happened since then is me analyzing my behavior, and I realized, that some of my reactions to him, like acting shy or not wanting, not confronting it head on. These are patterns in my life, and there's reasons why these are patterns in my life. And one of the things that I think is always in the back of my mind is if I'm really a bitch, to somebody.
That's what I was going to get at.
If I'm a bitch, if I like really shut a motherfucker down, am I going to piss him off enough to the point where he's going to be, oh, then fuck you then, because I've had that shit happen to me.
They become a physical threat.
Yes, they become a threat.
You are no longer safe.
Exactly.
That's what I was going to bring up, is like, as you go through these things and we crumple and we shrink ourselves because you're like, fuck, I need to stay safe. I need to avoid the conflict. We're actually physically scared. I'm scared for my life. I don't want a guy to become a psycho. And, as you guys are learning through these podcasts, Kat and I have been through a lot of shit with men and physical violence and just being
I'm sure many of you have too. Yeah. Most women.
I don't know any woman who doesn't have a story about stuff.
I don't know. I don't think there's any woman who hasn't experienced it.
I'm super close with. All of us have these stories where men have done really fucked up things to us, and so that is the pattern that we know from men, and I don't feel safe with them. Right.
Yeah.
Like,
and I think it feels like it's even more I think it's even more prominent today for men to just go the fuck off. Like they've all lost their fucking minds, like in dating apps, in on social media. If you say something to a guy, and he doesn't like it, he will straight up start cussing you out, calling you a fucking cunt and shit, just like off, like really fast. Like really, it escalates really fast, and it gets really vile, and very threatening. And so,
what I don't remember telling you about? Can I tell you a quick story?
Yeah, of course.
About how quickly shit can change. And I'm sure we all have stories like this, because it sounds like in your story, shit changed quickly. And I think I've sort of blocked this. I forget that it happened because it was right when I moved to my house, right? Like right by the beach. And I was going there and I was doing my tarot cards. And so number one, I'm in public doing tarot cards at the beach. Everybody's there. It's sunset time. This is really ballsy for me.
Oh my God.
Right?
Is this the guy?
Yes, it is. You do remember the story.
You guys, this is fucked up. This is some trauma stuff. So,
I literally, I forget this story all the time.
Trauma stuff though. So I hope you're okay. I understand. Listen, if you have to break. Go ahead.
Email us and we will talk to you. We understand. Yeah. Okay. Go ahead. Well, so I went to the beach and, at the time I wasn't married, but I have Tony, and that is like the best guy I've ever known. But what my husband has given me now is that I feel safe when I'm not with him. And it is proved a couple times in my life since meeting him that I'm not safe without him, that things have still happened when he's not around, but he gave me that back to feel this like sense of security. So I would go to the beach. My house is literally, you can fucking walk to my house from the beach. Like, I'm not far. I'm in my space of like, I own this area, right? You know how you like feel like you own the 5 blocks away from your house? Like it's home. It's all home. You know it so well.
I feel like I own Nokomis Beach when we go there. I do. I feel like this is our home.
This is my beach.
Like, hey, move. This is our beach.
This is my Publix. This is my beach. That's my road. That's my tree. That's everybody my cut through. Get the fuck off. Yeah. Like, I think you just start to feel that in your own neighborhood when you've lived there so long that those are your things, and you sort of feel the right to take up space in those places because you've been there so much. So I'm reading my tarot cards at the beach right before sunset. And maybe in this time, this was probably like 2017, 2018. And I think in that time frame, I was really still hoping to make connections with other women. Like if people see me reading tarot cards, another witchy woman might walk over. Like I think I've always been sending out those signals. That's like the vibe I'm trying to throw out in the world. Like connect with other witchy women who maybe like tarot. Tarot's kind of a safe in between witchcraft thing, right? So anyways, this guy who was sitting on a towel, I don't know. I'm not good at the feet thing. A car length away. All right. He's a car length, like parked long ways away, headlights to taillights. And I noticed him looking at the cards and like he had a really puzzling look on his face and he looked gay to me. Honestly, okay, well, I feel much safer with gay men because they don't seem to pose as much of a threat unless you piss them off and then they'll just hate you forever. But I can handle hate. I just can't handle the violence of like heterosexual men. So he looked gay to me. He was wearing little tiny banana hammock, plum smuggler shorts, right? Where it's just like, and he's mostly naked on the beach. And Americans just don't dress like that, right? All the American men wear board shorts. And, so I was like, oh, he's either gay or like maybe foreign. So there was not necessarily the flags that were raised if this had been a guy who looked like he was, from Kansas City or something, right?
Yeah.
Backwards ball cap, looked like a bro, college guy, whatever.
Right.
Anyways, he sees the cards, he comes over, and then he says something to me about the cards, and he's speaking in French or something, and I was like, what? I don't know what you're saying. So then he has this broken English thing, and he's asking me about the cards, and I was like, yeah, tarot, and whatever he was saying, it was like grandmother something. I was like, I don't know, language barrier. And then he broke together a sentence that said, what do you do this for? Or like, how are you doing this? Or what do you know about this? It was kind of like, tell me more about it. So I started explaining the cards to him, because I just had them laid out and I was like, well, this one's for this and this one's for that. And we're talking and I think he's getting it. But again, there's a language barrier somewhere there and the sun is setting and he's like, it's really beautiful out. And I was like, this is the best place. Like, this is my beach. No flirtation, no nothing to give him any signals of anything. And he has moved. He's not on my blanket because I have like my whole blanket to me that I'm sitting on with my tarot cards and all my shit around. And he has his towel blanket pulled up next to that sort of, but not like directly in my space. Like I couldn't have reached over and touched him. He was far enough away that he wasn't within arm's reach. I'm fucking talking. And then I look over to him and he has just got his dick out laying over his leg, just out. He pulled it out. I don't know when the fuck he pulled it out. He just pulled out his dick, laid it on his leg and was just like looking at me with this longing look of like, are you free? Like, what do you want to do something maybe? Like it was this not even aggressive look, just kind of like, meh, I got a present. Do you like it? What do you think? You want to tell me about it? The moment I saw the mushroom head, I was just like, what the fuck is wrong with you? Like, I just go off and start screaming. Everybody starts looking. He gets freaked out. He's like, okay. He starts putting his hands up. Oh, okay. I'm sorry. I was like, I just start picking up my shit. I'm so mad because I was like, I talked to you like you were a decent human being and you are not a fucking decent human being. And I was so mad. And then I didn't go to the beach by myself like forever. I still barely go unless it's in the early dawn hours before anybody's out there and I'm doing a fucking moon ritual, Like I don't go now.
He fucked it up for you.
He did. Yeah. Who just pulls their dick out on somebody and is just like, hey, like, what do you think? I think you should go to jail. That's what I think. Yeah. And if any of my cop friends had been around, because I knew all the police officers who did that beach, I wish I would have run into them because I've been like, this guy, this is trouble. Something's fucking wrong. Yeah. There.
So, these are the kind of things we encounter with men, right? Yeah. They
start off really innocent.
Yeah. They act normal and then they just go there. They go to a place that they go sexual in some kind of level, either pulling their dick out or,
oh my God. How about the time I got asked $100 for sex? Jolene and I. How about that? You guys want to hear another story in fucking Florida? Florida men. I don't know. Went to a little radio station, little get together up in Tampa. This is when we lived up in Tampa, Jolene and I, way back in 2013. Went to a little radio station like, oh my God, we're having to get together on the beach. Like everybody's going to be there, blah, 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 live DJ, blah, blah. We go, we're sitting on the beach. We've each got a bottle of Corona and we're just like staring off and we were like, yeah, this isn't really our vibe. Like there's not actually anything going on. It wasn't that fun. Some older man comes and sits down next to us and he's like, can I buy you guys a beer? And we were just like, I mean, yeah, sure, why not? Yeah, buy us a beer. You know, I'm in my early 30s. I'm probably 32 at this point. I'm almost 45 now. I know better. But he gets like 3 beers, brings them over. We're just sitting there drinking. He was asking us, like, oh, where you guys from? Blah, blah, blah. We're just talking, fucking casual chit chat, you guys. And then out of nowhere, he goes, $100. And we were like, $100 what? For getting us beer? We were like, what the? Are you out of your mind? Like, what? Then he goes, $100 for sex? And we were like, did you just ask us? Do you think we're fucking we were so speechless and we were so appalled, but also it was hilarious that some guy would be like $100 for sex to you. Mind blown, still mind blown. Jolie and I still talk about this. Is like, do you remember just out of nowhere, you're sitting on a beach in broad daylight, crowded people around. It's a fucking block party type thing. And somebody's just going to walk up to 2 girls. We're not dressed scantily. There's nothing. And see, there I go again. Look at me.
Yeah,
blaming me that it's like,
right,
oh, well, if I was dressed like a hooker,
you know,
maybe
one
I'll
of
be
the
approached like a
things I
hooker.
thought about, first of all, is like when you accepted his beer, you know, when you accepted his offer for
Now we
beer,
owe him something.
yeah, was that like a door opening for him that, you know, because if it had been me, that's probably what I would have thought. Well, maybe I shouldn't have accepted the beer, you know, like it's like it's just like you have to be so safe. It's almost like you can't do anything with them because you can't trust them because they're stupid.
Because they're stupid.
They're just idiot. They walk around with their dick in their head, you know, and I mean, because their dick is their head and that's how they think. And the only thing that is on their mind is getting their dick wet, you know, literally that's what it seems like. And
being able to have a casual conversation with a guy and not think that he has ulterior motives is incredibly hard for women who have gone through things like this, where now you're just very untrusting of men in general. You know, do you feel safe enough? Goddess forbid that you have a bad interaction with a fucking male cop, because then you don't know if police officers are safe. In the small town that I lived in South Carolina, there was some shady shit going on with some of the sheriffs there. And, you know,
there was a cop.
And I know that we hear these stories all the time, right?
Serial killer in San Diego.
Insane.
In San Diego, there was a serial killer that turned out to be a cop that was pulling women over on desolate roads and then
Exactly.
You know,
so we think about all of the ways that it adds up to us not being safe when we interact with men, and we try to trust them or make it really easy, and then we go and blame ourselves, like we should have known better.
I think that's what we want to focus on. So we've shared the stories with us, and we are 100% sure that you've got your own stories that you could share with us if we were all sitting down talking together. But absolutely. I think, you know what, when you think about this year is a year of breaking patterns, right? This is a year of recognizing patterns. And so some of the thoughts, and you can share thoughts that went through your head in different times when you've interacted with somebody.
Yeah, for
where
sure.
Immediately after you have the interaction and you either, I love that you went off on the guy and got up and got pissed off and were screaming at the beach. I love that you did that. I don't know how I would have reacted. I would have been probably so shocked, and I don't even know how I would react if something like that happened to me. But I love that you did that, because I feel like that was a powerful thing to do. Yeah. And maybe, you were able to feel safe enough to go off, or maybe you were just lost and been like, what the motherfucker? Or there was other people around. There was other people around.
Right. Because imagine if I had been alone there, I might have just been left silently.
I would have just. Yeah, but there was other people around, so you could make a lot of noise and get attention. Yeah. And so
I wanted him arrested, you guys. Honestly, I wanted to cause a scene and get him arrested. I wanted somebody else to see it and validate, look what's fucking happening.
Right. Yeah.
That was what I thought of, and I think about this I told my Navy story, last podcast, and it's these times when we don't get fucking heard, because these things happen to us in a vacuum sometimes, where it's then you have to tell people your story, and you don't know if they're but did it happen that way?
Right.
Were you to blame? What were you wearing?
Oh, what were you wearing?
Oh, shit. It's little things like that where I think almost when we're violated, we don't even know if we tell our story if people will believe us. And that's a huge indication of how our society is fucked up for women. Like where the power is just like, it's just in the wrong place in my mind, because we don't immediately believe the women. Now I know that there are cases in both scenarios, right? I knew men who were really afraid to be alone with women because they were afraid that, anything happens, that they're going to be accused of rape. And men in the military, I have found that they're on opposite sides. There's either the guys who are like, I don't give women the time of day because they're all scandalous and they're fucked up and like women are crazy. And those become really good friends for women. And then you've got the other ones that are like, oh, I just saw her have 3 drinks. I'm following her home and seeing how much I can get out of her. Like it's the taking advantage of, and then it's the men who want to steer clear because they think all women are crazy. And you don't really find them in the middle. It's like the healthy understanding of having a relationship with opposite sex people that can truly be platonic, and you can believe that and have that. There's a lot of stories of where it doesn't, because as we get close to people, when you have a platonic relationship with a man and you realize you can trust him with so much and he's really there for you and he's sensitive and there's all these things, you're like, why are we not dating? You're actually a really good guy. Like, I'm not attracted to you at all, but all your qualities can make up for the looks that aren't there. And I've seen that happen. So I'm going to circle back. I'm going to back us up just a little bit, because I want to tell you guys some of the things that went through my head. One of them was, I knew I would tell Jayme. She's my best friend. She's my daughter. She's my best friend. And we're always like, we're always talking about things like this and reflecting and analyzing and then, make it. So I knew I would talk to her, but honestly, there was a part of me that didn't want to admit, to her what had happened, because I felt some kind of shame or blame or something out of it. So tell me more about that. Where was the shame or blame for you? That because felt embarrassing.
Saying under my breath, not.
So because you didn't speak up in a way that you were more proud of.
Yeah, because or because I kind of like, I don't know. I felt like maybe I can't really explain why I would, make that comment when he was clearly checking me out, being like, you look good. And I'm thinking, you haven't seen me naked, thinking to myself, but didn't say that, of course. I don't want him to see me naked, but why did I think that? Right. So you start thinking about like, why did I go down that path? And I think it's just like this long history of training and, I mean, I don't know. So,
well, okay. So
there was a part of me that felt embarrassed, about it, and that I didn't handle it well, and that I didn't handle it well. I think Who
are you comparing yourself against when you say you didn't handle it well? Who do you envision handles it well versus you handling it well?
I mean, the characters that I watch in movies,
No, that's fucking great. No, please run with that.
The characters that I watch in movies, the women that
name one woman in a movie that you're like, yep, I wish I had her fucking audacity to say what she was thinking all the time.
So Daphne from Bridgerton, if you guys have ever watched Daphne, she's in the first season. With the Duke, right?
Oh yeah.
And she always, every man that she encounters
I need to rewatch season 1.
She calls them, she's like, it's like she's really sure of herself. She knows who she is. She's confident in her abilities and in her value. In her value and everything. So you can tell like she's a woman that knows her value. And she's not going to let some guy just talk crazy to her. So she's like a recent character in a movie that I can think of, but mostly I think that I like a lot of rom-coms because I love love, and it's just like
they're fun.
I love shit like that, right? But most of the women, the way the characters are written in movie, they don't withdraw. They don't make themselves small they don't make themselves small and shy away. They stand up for themselves. They know their value, or their character's written to know their value most of the time. And, especially in a rom-com, because
the men are also sensitive in rom-coms, right? So they actually, they take on a totally different role than in other movies.
So, feeling like I didn't handle it as well as I wished I'd had of. And just, that part of me that's like, you are 67 years old and you are still fucking handling shit like you're a goddamn teenager. what the hell? So anyway, I didn't want to admit to it, but of course, as we talked about it, it's like, if you don't admit it, if you can't talk about it and you can't admit it, then you can deny that it didn't happen. And then you can just kind of brush it off and like, yep. And then you can't grow from it. Right.
Yeah.
So the reason to talk about this tonight is to share the story with you and, for growth opportunity for me so that the next time something like this happens, I'll remember that
you'll have
confessed it. You'll have insight. I have confessed it to the world. And also, I want to know what you guys would have said when, in a situation like that where, I wish I could remember the exact moment and the exact words that he said when he said something about sex. And I was just like, because it was, I can't remember now at this point, and I might have blocked it out, but at any rate, I think it was when we were walking. I don't know.
Well,
I can't.
This is why, after my mom told me about this, I brought this up to my husband and I said, do you think that it is ridiculous that a man would have the audacity to talk about sex with a woman that he has only known for 2 hours? Think about it. They met 2 nights ago for an hour and now this next night for 1 hour. So he has spent literally 2 hours with her and he is mentioning sex. I was like, the fucking audacity of men to do shit like this. Yeah. My cute, sweet, adorable husband tried to be like, and I was like, don't you fucking what? You would never. And one of the things that my mom said to me, which was like such a compliment to my husband and to our relationship, was that Tony would have never done that to you, right? And I was like, you're right. He would have never acted like that.
They were friends. We
were friends for almost a year.
Yeah, the thing about them is like they really liked each other and really connected, but it didn't get. There was no sexual innuendo for a long time.
He never pushed it on me, and it was never like. Yeah. So there was a lot of respect given and space given. Yeah. And that's something that this guy fucking in 2 hours jumped over.
Well, one of the things I thought about, I wish I'd said to him was like, actually, I still have an opportunity to respond. Oh, because he sent me a text message, like almost as soon as I got back up to my room, I had a text message from him that said something about, I'm sorry I offended you. And then whatever, after that, I really don't care what it said, but I can read the whole text because I really do want to know if anybody has a comment to make. I would love to know what you would have said. So we'll read you at the text at the end. So
because one of the things we talk about is not having the words. We haven't practiced the words to say when somebody does something that we really don't like, and we want to be like, hey, stop.
Yeah, but one of the things I thought about was like, you have daughters. Would you really? Because I'm thinking about because Jayme, I deleted his message, and then for some I did something weird on my phone today, and I had to restore, and his message came back. And so I'm like, all right,
the universe giving you an opportunity.
The universe giving me an opportunity to address it and not be a chicken about it, not chicken out about it, not take the easy way out and just pretend it didn't happen and ignore it and blah 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 blah. But I forgot what I was saying. Shit. Well, one of the things I thought about was he's got daughters. His youngest daughter, I think, is 25. So he's got 20 daughters in their 20s. Like, would you want some man? And this may be the approach that I take with him. Would you want a man to approach your daughters about sex after they talked to him for 2 hours when there was no flirting going on? It wasn't like there was like, and we're touching. Because I've been in situations like that where there's definitely the chemistry and, there's a little bit of, touching and a little bit of flirting and it's reciprocated. Yeah, it's reciprocal. The feelings are mutual on both sides. I've had that happen. And if a guy said, mention, I don't know if I would still flip out about it. I might go for it. I'm not sure, depending how I'm feeling. It's not like I haven't done it in my life, right? I'm a little bit more leery now because there's been so many unsatisfactory situations when I do that. It's just like, that was all for you, wasn't it? There was nothing like that for me. So it's been really unsatisfactory. But anyway, yeah. So I keep getting off track.
Well, it's bringing it up that like, would you want your daughters talked to like that?
Yeah, that may be.
I think that's such a great way to throw it back at him and be like, you need to analyze your behavior because this is what you stand for. And would you want men to treat your daughters like that? Like you should be treating women like men.
Okay, so I want to tell you guys what's happening right now inside my head. When Jayme is is doing the thing that she would have me do to the guy, right? Would you want, like that, right? Like that, right? I'm thinking to myself, what his reaction, how he's going to think I'm a bitch or something like that. Because when you use your voice with men, when you assert
your ground,
when you assert yourself with men, all of a sudden you're a fucking bitch, right?
You're a bitch.
So as she's demonstrating how I might do that, my thought is that the reaction that I'm going to get? Don't be such a bitch. Don't be such a prude. Whatever, they just come back with crazy ass shit. And it's like, yeah.
And maybe that's one of the reasons that we like crumple or shrink so that we don't have to deal with their emotions or feelings.
Yeah, because how do you deal with that? Like, I mean,
what I think is that I lean towards making them feel really pathetic and that I'm sorry for them. I'm like,
well, maybe it's then there's a lot a lot in tone.
For sure.
There's a lot in tone.
Yeah.
And,
because men, it's like, if you react with aggression, I feel like then they get aggressive,
absolutely.
right?
They all of a sudden feel like they have to be superior to you because they know they can overpower you. They're bigger than you. They're stronger than you, and so now they have to assert their dominance.
Because there is real physical threat.
Because now they have to assert their dominance and fucking put you down and let you know you're in danger.
Yeah.
You're
not in control here.
You're not in control.
Yeah.
I have control of the situation.
Yeah.
You don't. And I could throw you down on the ground right now and do whatever the fuck I wanted with you. And there would be nothing that you could do to stop it.
So I'm very lucky to have kind of like right into the Navy. Then I got to deal with Marines, and they're all really good at shit talking. And I didn't know how to do that. I grew up with like my sister, sort of being more of like the caretaker, emotional, like just a totally different role. When I got into the military, I got to be around mostly men, and I got to watch them interact with each other, and I got to see what actually hurt some men's feelings. So they do, especially between each other, there are things that you could say to men that really are like, oof. And they might not even show it, but they don't know how to fucking react to it. And coming out of a woman's mouth, they really don't know how to react to it. And I got very, very, very good at insulting men. And I was really proud to
got really good at insulting men.
I got very good at it. Like,
probably because you had to in that situation with so many men. Otherwise, they just...
First off, I didn't tell you guys yet, but when I was in Afghanistan, working and like, trying to save people's lives, doing my job, I still had men that just did not care that I was a human and a person. They were just like, you're a vagina and it's one of like 50 on the base out of, 3,000 men. Like, what do I got to say to be able to fuck you? Like, that was it. They didn't care. So I had to create lots of lies. You remember me telling you about the lies that I've created over time in Afghanistan?
No.
So my first one, I thought STDs would really scare people. So I made sure everybody knew that I had I was like, I have herpes and I have this and I have that. You can't have AIDS because they won't send you overseas. Not that I actually have any of the STDs, but I wanted to scare people so they didn't want to sleep with me if they thought I was like STDs.
I kind of like that. I'm HIV positive.
That will shut somebody down pretty fast. And it doesn't matter if you tell a lie about yourself.
And you know what? It would be so shocking. They would just be like,
yeah.
They wouldn't even know what to say.
They would scurry away so fast. Okay.
I love that.
So
I'm gonna put that in my pocket. I'm gonna save that for later.
There you go. I couldn't use like the HIV positive or the AIDS thing because you can't actually have that and then get deployed. So I knew, but I thought herpes was pretty bad. I was like, well,
herpes
it's forever.
Very contagious. It's forever.
Well, it's forever. And so like, I was like, yeah. So I started.
Did you also say something about you can't say,
a man.
You can't say you're not a woman.
No, listen, I had a whole thing. Okay. When the herpes thing didn't scare enough people off, I mean, it scared enough people off. Like, they were like, oh God, herpes girl. And I was like, I'm cool with that nickname. Like, I started my own rumor and I made sure my girlfriends, I was like, if anybody asks you about me, you tell them I have herpes, flared up, raging herpes everywhere. Okay. You tell them that. And I remember my friend Dorian, she was like, Jayme, I can't say that about you. I was like, you're going to say that about me. You better say it about me. Again, we're like, there's not many women on the base. It's really it's a rough place to be. But then when men still approached me, like I had to drive people in a van back and forth to the airport. That was one of my duties working at the home office. So they would get me alone in this van and then they start talking to me about things. And I was just like, one guy asked me, he's like, what medicine do you take? And I was like, I didn't look that up. I don't know what and I take her.
That was somebody who knows about herpes.
I was like, oh shit, I gotta get my story better. So then I started a rumor like 6 months in. I was like, I actually used to be a man and I got a sex change in Thailand and I had a whole thing about it. That scared a lot more people off. And then people started saying that they could see my Adam's apple.
I do remember the Adam's
my big
apple.
hands. And then I'd be at the gym, like in my running clothes, and people would stare at my crotch, like looking to see what part it didn't change. Because my story is that I used to be a man and I had a sex change. Well, I had like the upper body sex change, and then I was like there earning money so that I could get the rest of it done in Thailand later. And like I had a whole fucking story for it. Like, and I was just trying to scare people off. But
my God.
then I really got accused of being a man, and like
Oh my
they were
goodness.
looking for, penis in my pants and like tucked stuff and like my Adam's apple and said I had really big hands. I was like, well, that's so offensive. I don't have man hands.
You don't have big hands. What are you talking about?
That just meant that the lie worked.
But once you tell somebody I used to be a man, then they're looking for all the signs to confirm it.
Yeah.
And it's like your hands aren't as dainty as they could
like then
be,
they
right?
see you in a different light, and I was like, sweet, I am no longer a sexual object to you. Now I'm a freak, and I'm comfortable with that. So starting my own rumors. I forgot where I actually started that story now, but it's to have hurting men's feelings.
Oh, that's what it was.
I should have a class on
this. So what Jayme I think what your suggestion was to make them feel really small.
To make them feel really uncomfortable and very small.
Yeah. But the thing that when you said that, the thing that I noticed about that is like, I like to make them feel really small. It was like the tone of like,
ooh, I do.
The tone,
I do enjoy
the tone of what she described before is like, blah, 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 kind of pointing,
angry,
right?
Angry.
Versus, I make them feel really small. You notice the whole body, the whole change, the language change, the vibe, the whole vibe changes. So yeah.
I got very good at learning the insults and being able to deliver them very well. And so now I can really react to a guy. If he's aggressive and comes at me, I can play very coy. I have a lot of sneaky shit I can say. And I can usually hit a pain point for him, especially because when you go through, like, read any normal psychology book on anything, and it'll tell you about how people react because they were hurt by their mothers or rejected by their fathers. I'll tell you what, you bring up some fucking childhood shit on a guy and they crumble. Then they're like, how can she see through me? Oh my God. How does she know my father didn't love me and my mother was a whore in this small town in Texas and nobody wanted me and I'm just trying to be a man now? Like, it's crazy. And it doesn't take much. And there's so, like, you can watch the way men act, and then there's these little, like, here's bracket A and here's bracket B and here's bracket C, and you can sort of see. So in A, you got that alpha male trying to be so hard and prove something to everybody because maybe you do have a small penis and you just, like, you don't want anybody to know. So you're really trying to play it off by being like macho. And I know that's why you go to the gym a lot. And look, you're doing great. Just like, keep it up, sweetheart. Using words like that with a guy who's an alpha male, he doesn't even know what to say to you because you weren't a bitch to him, right? You were actually sympathetic. And he's like, fuck you for being sympathetic and thinking about my feelings. Like, they don't know what to say. And then, and then B is like your average bro guy who just thinks he's going to, like, hit it and quit it type. And you're like, oh yeah, I bet that worked out for you in college so that nobody ever had to, like, confront your mom about what a shit you are, like, it's just little things. And you say it in a tone that is so pleasant. They're like, you're not really being a bitch because you're not yelling at them. You're not screaming or screeching or anything. They don't know how to take that. And it's beautiful. Yeah. I'm not going to say I miss a lot of things, but there was a part of me that with the names that I used to get, you've seen Sons of Anarchy, right?
Oh, yes. Yeah.
So my name is Jayme, but in Afghanistan, I was known as Jayme from that show because she was so fucking ruthless.
Yeah, she was ruthless. I love Jayme.
I know.
Everybody
I got called Jayme over there a lot, which I was like, I'm cool with that nickname. Fine. But I remember as guys would come into the office, so I worked with like 3 men, and then it was me and another girl. And you would see these guys like processing in, and they'd come in and they're all like trying to be chatty and cute. And the one guy who worked beside me, his name was David, and he would just look up at them like, don't poke the bear, man. Don't do it. Don't poke her. And because, they're trying to be all cute and chatty. And it was like, I had this reputation and I loved it. Like, people would come in and try to shake my hand, and I would just look at him like, I'm not shaking your hand. For what? the fuck out of here. Like, what are you doing? Go. And
she was a boss.
Yes. Amongst other names they called me, but yes.
A boss.
And I was okay with
boss
that.
Moves right there.
I think what you have to do is, when you talked about like, you're judging yourself, you're putting yourself down, what will he think of me? I think the real flip in that, when you do the shadow work around that, is that you stop caring about what men think of you because they mean nothing anyways. And I had to get to that point in my own life because of the way that men were in my world at that time, the military.
Well, yeah, the military would give you like a completely different experience because you're such a minority.
And you go through them so rapidly, right?
Yeah,
like, so you're seeing so many men, and you're just like,
many of them with their bullshit, with their jive talking, and they're like, ooh, suave bullshit.
They all think they're fucking special
they
from
all
their
think
town.
They're God's gift to women.
They were all the star football player. Like they all
got the biggest swinging dick, and they're the best in bed, and they're the best of they're just they really I don't know how men like pump themselves up to think they're so great when they're so fucked up, obviously.
Yeah. Well, that's why it's really fun to call them like normal. Like, oh, I see you're trying to be a big, strong man right now, but you need like 5 more months. You'll get there. It's okay. Keep working at it, buddy. And use things like what they say to us, sweetheart. You have to use the same passive aggressive. Like, I don't know. That's kind of what it is, right? But you can see how excited I get when I talk about it. It was a good era in my life to put down men as much as I did and be able to like fucking taunt them, and all the opportunities I had, a revolving door of men to torment. Yes.
So I think I'm going to need your help because Jayme watched me tell the story. We have the conversations. You can I know she kind of sees the light go off, the light in my eyes, right? When something hits. And so it was like realizing things, like as you speak about it, or as I spoke about it, and I spoke to her and we went back and forth with, questions or whatever, then lights, switches start flipping right in my head, like, that
you make a connection.
Like, I make a connection. I make a connection. Yeah. So it's super helpful to have that, but maybe, we can talk about how just because, it's like this,
I know something.
Go ahead.
I know something.
Okay, she knows something.
I was going to bring it up earlier, and then we got sidetracked, and I get really excited about talking down to men. But on a better note, on a better note, for you and for our listeners and all of our women in our community that have also gone through this and feel this exact same way, like Kat and I have felt, where you have to like crumple yourself down when these things happen because you're trying to avoid conflict and you don't want to be seen as a bitch and all the things. What it really comes back to, and you said it for a second and it didn't click yet, but your worth.
My worth,
are you seeing your worth in that moment? Because that is what gives us the place to stand up and say, fuck you, I'm not going to tolerate this.
I'm still dealing with the worth thing because that was supposed to be the topic of tonight, kind of like, how did I end up as a woman that doesn't feel worthy, and there's stories behind it, of course, childhood stuff that's happened, which was originally the podcast plan for tonight, but this happened and I was like, this is better.
This is relevant.
This is relevant. It's like now. Good. It just happened. So self-worth is something that I have struggled with for my whole life, which you will learn why in episodes to come. You'll learn my whole life story. I plan to spill it all right here on the Witches Way podcast.
But did you know that you had a worth problem?
I've known this. Yeah. I mean, I think I've known this. Even though I've evolved a lot since I've been here, I feel like I've changed, but I feel like also that I'm still susceptible to certain things in my life that have led me astray. I'll give you guys another story that happened 2 weeks ago when I was at a meeting. I was wearing Jayme's sexy boots, right? Above the knee. So yeah. So Jayme's sexy boots.
I'm trying to show it in the video for YouTube, but it's very awkward.
So for those of you who cannot see, they're suede. They've got a little block heel. They've got strings in the back that tie. So it's like that sexy, like kind of lace up. Lace up.
It's a barely lace up back.
It's laced up the back like a little bit, about 3 or 4 inches up the back. But they come up over the knees, so they're high. So they really, it's like It's like Julia Roberts, only in Pretty Woman with the boots, and they're up to her thighs and stuff like that. So anyway, I had a meeting a couple of weeks ago, and I haven't I've been seeing anybody for a year, and I look good, especially compared to, there's a big change from last year, right?
Yeah.
So there was one of my coworkers who I don't know. I've actually never spoken to him, but he's a nice looking man. And he was eye fucking me at our
2 weeks ago at your meeting.
2 weeks ago.
Now, I love when you say eye fucking you, because I'm trying to imagine what that looks like, but what I see is like Jim Carrey from The Mask, where the oogly eyes like pop out, and he's like, mama, mama. But like,
pretty much that was it. That was pretty much it. It was just like he couldn't keep his eyes off of me. That was the thing. Like every time I was in his line of sight, I could see him totally fucking checking me out, but he never approached me. And okay, so here I'm going to make another admission, which I was flattered by that. And then
there's
later,
nothing wrong with that.
I was flattered by that. And then later on, as I analyzed, like, why do I feel flattery from this guy who when I think about it, I know all he wanted to do was get that, right? That was it. He's just interested in the body. Like, I'm not a person to him. I'm somebody that he's sexually attracted to.
Right.
But as far as me, Kat, who I am, my life, anything about me, he doesn't give a shit, because if he did, he would have come over and spoken to me and be like, hi, I'm not going to say his name but anyway, Jay. Hi, I'm Jay.
Tell me about yourself.
Yeah,
what do you do?
Yeah,
like,
how
interest
are
in
you? Yeah, have interest in me. There was none of that. It was all checking me out, giving me the and if I wanted to, I know that I could have fucked him, but it's the too many unsatisfactory encounters like that I've had in my life that I know better than to do it, because I know what I'm going to feel like after the fact. So anyway, so there was that guy just 2 weeks ago, and and me feeling kind of like, I must be really cute because he made, oh my God, like, are you serious? Like, you're a teenager? Are you kidding me?
Why does it upset you to know that somebody found you sexy but didn't want to get to know you? What does that tell you about yourself?
Why does
it upset you or make you feel silly or girlish to know that somebody was sexually attracted to you but didn't want to get to know you?
That wasn't the part. What bothered me is my reaction, like actually being like giddy about him being attracted to me. I'm like,
right. So why is it bad that somebody is just attracted to you and doesn't want to get to know you?
Well, I think that's like, what am I? I'm just a vessel.
Value.
Right?
It goes back to your value and worth.
Yeah, it goes back to my value. Yeah.
Because that is somebody who is not seeing you for your value and worth.
Yeah.
And then is just seeing you as like a human meat pie.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know what to call it.
Depository is what.
I was thinking of American Pie. That's what I was thinking of. Is like you're a hot apple pie. That's all you are. Like,
oh God, I know. Yeah, gross. Basically, that's pretty much it. A warm place to put it. That's it. Yeah. That's all they want. I'm just a hole. Right?
And so
I'm just a warm body with a place where men like to put their That's it. And so it does make you,
doesn't make you feel worthy.
Yeah.
It doesn't make you feel like you are a person.
Well, or like, I guess the only thing interesting about me is how I look to you anyway, at least to him in that moment, because somebody else who was actually like attracted to me, but then wanted to go beyond just, let's get naked. So, I mean, when somebody's actually, So I don't know what I'm trying to say.
Well, that reminds me of the story that I told you. I don't know when it was, but when I worked in South Carolina at the plant at Isola, and I didn't have any friends there. Like, I moved to Cameron's dad's hometown. So like I was alone, and my job offered the only like interaction with other adult human beings. And this is something that's hard for me. I've always made better friends with guys than I have with girls, because that gets into a whole topic of like, I always felt like girls were judgmental, or they lied to me, or it's not a true friendship, or it's just, I never really had good girlfriends. I never.
You have to share your story too. When you get done with that, I want you to tell your story that you just told me about the woman that you judged.
Oh yeah. Okay.
Okay, so go ahead and finish. Go ahead and finish
because
that.
this is all about like
Because it's-
perceptions and how we react to things,
and it's also recognizing patterns in
Yeah, it's a
ourselves so that we can
pattern
change them. But go
for
ahead
sure.
with the Isilla story.
Well, so I tried to I felt very comfortable having a male friend because that's what I had through the military. Like I had a
Right.
couple female friends, but not not a lot. So anyways, a guy's like, hey, I know a place to have a beer. You want to have a beer after work? I was like, fuck yeah, sure. Like I don't even have any adult friends here. And it's a guy, we're probably in the same age range. And what was really weird is like we're sitting at the bar having light beers, which I don't even drink, but like that's what's in South Carolina. And he's starting to tell me this story about something. And he makes this, the thing he had said before that, he goes, I know what you're thinking. And I was what? Yeah, he said it out of nowhere. It was like, there was nothing happened. He was just like, I know what you're thinking.
There was no pretense to this, nothing,
it was
no
just like,
prelude, nothing, just out of the blue.
Just like, I know what you're thinking. I was like, that I don't like beer. Like, I don't know what he was going to say. He goes, you think I'd sleep with you and never call you again? And he's like these dramatic long pauses. And I'm just looking at him like, I wasn't thinking that because I would never sleep with you. But like, okay. Like in my head, I'm just waiting for whatever the fuck he has a point. And then he goes, I'd call you again. And I was just like, ew. You're presuming I would sleep with you and then wait for you to fucking call me. First off, I'd never sleep like in my own head, but I didn't have the language then. Like I didn't have it then to say anything. I was just kind of like, all right, well, this will probably be the last time we ever hang out. So I didn't really care about what he was saying. So 20 minutes later, he's telling me some fucking story that I'm not paying attention to at all. I'm just sitting there like,
you're ready to go.
Like, whatever.
Now you're ready to
like,
go.
Whatever. Like, I don't care. This isn't going to turn into anything. And I was probably thinking about how the fuck is this not going to end? Because I'm be like, yeah, thanks. Bye. Like, don't want anything to do. Like, see you at work, buddy. Bye. But I wasn't really paying attention to his story and he was telling me something. And then he paused and I thought that the story was over. And then I said something and he looked at me and goes, you are so rude. I was in the middle of telling you exactly how I felt, blah, 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 blah. And he like blows up. And I just looked at him like, what the fuck just happened? I was like, I don't even know what he was saying. So I kind of felt bad. I was like,
she wasn't listening. She was just tuning him out.
I didn't care what he had to say. I didn't fucking respect him as a person. I mean, he led with like, I'd call you again. Yeah. So we'd only had one beer. Like we weren't even done with a beer. That's, I didn't really drink beer back then, but he got all huffy puffy and then stormed out and left me sitting there at the bar. Everybody in the place heard it. It's like a very small bar in South Carolina. It's a tiny place. And he just storms out. And I'm just looking around like, everybody heard that. I was like, this is kind of embarrassing. But then I was just like looking at everybody and I'm going, I have this confused look on my face. I'm going, and these two older men across, like they're next to him. So they're only one chair away from me. And they go, we heard the whole thing. And seriously, you're better. I was like, right? Like what happened? He goes, don't even worry about it. So then I had the next 2 hours spent with these two guys who were deer hunting, air quotations, in South Carolina just to get time away from their wives and like hang out and drink beer at a bar. And I had the best time with them because they were just genuine and the stories flowed. So like, thank goodness, thank the goddess that guy got all butthurt because I didn't fucking listen to his story and walked out.
Well, and then then tell about paying the tab.
Oh my God, I had to pay the fucking tab because he left me there with, his beer. And the bartender was like, I heard it all. Don't worry about it. Got it. He comes here all the time. I'll get him next time. I was like, oh, sweet. So like, everybody there was not shocked by the situation like I was. I felt really flabbergasted from it. I was like, did he just storm out of here because I didn't hear his fucking little sob story about whatever the fuck he was talking about? Like, I don't even know. We ain't even friends like that, man. We weren't at a plant together where I see him occasionally because he does receiving shit or like whatever. But yeah, again, we get these patterns because we have the experiences.
Yes.
So it's not like your thinking is wrong. It's not like what we've done is wrong. It's not. That has been what the world has given us as information and how we should react or not react to keep ourselves safe, to own our own space, all the things, right?
Yeah.
Because even the guy asking me for my number the other day, number one, I kind of felt guilty. I was like, oh my God, what would my husband say that a guy asked me for my number? Like, I don't feel like I've been asked for my number forever. And I didn't tell him about it because I don't want him to worry. I don't know. That's probably something in my own shit of like dealing with jealous men in the past. Not that my husband is a jealous type at all. He knows. he knows better. Like, it's sad for him because I hate most men. Hate, that's a strong word. I dislike most men. And then I bitch to him about how men are stupid and he's a man. And I'm like, I don't know how you're a man. You're so different. I was like, when I talk about men are dumb, it's not you. Like, you're not the problem. I have to kind of like ease him into that because I do a lot of man-hating talk a lot. And I was like, they are really stupid though, honey. Like, seriously, how many good guy friends do you have that wouldn't just like sleep with a bartender and not tell their wife about it? He can't argue with me there.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah. So, but he likes to try to defend it and think that people have good intentions, but he's a Libra. So he does that just trying to keep the
balance
peace,
and keep the peace. Yeah. Yeah.
So I really, there's conversations that you should have with your significant other. And then there's just ones that are like meant for girlfriends. This is a girlfriend's conversation, you guys. Like, don't let your husbands or boyfriends listen to this shit, okay? Because we're just really, it's not healthy for them to know how most women think about men and they're all fucked up and like the things.
Well, you know what? A lot of them would get really pissed off and be like, how dare that bitch say that?
But they don't know how men have treated all of us because we don't ever tell men all of the fucking stories that have led us to this place.
And even if we did, they wouldn't believe it. They'd
so
be like,
maybe do let them listen to this and be like, listen to Kat and Jayme. They know some shit.
I mean, it's tough. How many times have women said a man did this or that to me and people just don't believe it?
They don't believe it.
You go to read.
They say, what was your part in it? What was your fault?
Yeah, what did you? I mean, and we're talking. This stuff starts when you're really, really. I mean, I've read some things lately about like a 10-year-old.
Oh God, don't go there.
What? Yeah, pregnant 10-year-old in fucking Mississippi or some hick place or whatever, pregnant by her stepfather or some shit. And it's like, I think the story was about that the church person was like, well, what did you do? Maybe it was a woman recounting what happened to her when she was young. I don't know. I can't. But anyway, a lot of horrendous shit out there right now. If you guys are paying attention to it, I'm sorry.
I don't tap into
Jayme
that.
Jayme doesn't tap into
far away
it.
From that.
I tap into all of it. I know all the shit that's going on.
Her Scorpio side.
I know everything that's happening. So it's really messed up. And if you know what I'm talking about, you know what I'm talking about. And I'm not going to bring it up because Jayme, I don't want to. My poor little daughter, she's just
don't distress the sensitive little Pisces.
Yeah, she doesn't. She can't solve it. I mean, she can't do anything about it, so she doesn't want it in her world, and I get that.
Yeah,
but me, I want all the dirt on everybody. I need to know that. I'm that person that needs to go deep and need to understand people.
Yeah,
and I want all the I want all the human things, so I can be like, I'm better at actually figuring out other people than my own self.
Psychics are like that. I mean, truly, we're given these gifts not so that we can do better in our own lives, so that we can help other people.
Yeah.
Like one of my favorite psychic authors, Alison Dubois, like I love her and her books so much. And that show, they created a show sort of off of her life. And now I can't remember what it's called, but it's got Patricia Arquette. And it's like years ago.
That was
there was a show with Patricia
Medium.
Arquette. Oh, is it called The Medium?
The Medium. I think it was called The Medium.
So
yeah.
That was based off Alison Dubois' life. And she has written a lot of books about being a medium and sort of these own things in her life. And so when Cameron got epilepsy, this is so off topic now for like the man-hating topics we were talking about, but this is our gifts. That's what I'm talking. That's why this ties in. But Alison is a fucking amazing psychic, right? Like she's done all this testing. She's helped solve crime. She's helped do all this stuff. And yet when her own daughter was sick and they couldn't figure out why, and she couldn't see it, and she couldn't ask spirit guides, and she couldn't get anybody from the other side to tell her, which she's solving everybody else's fucking problems, but she can't solve her own daughter's mysterious illness that went on like 6 years, right? And she couldn't get answers. And she goes, that's just the curse of this gift. Like we can be so insightful to other people. Yeah. And yet we cannot solve our own problems.
We can't turn it inward.
Because we need to know that we're not all powerful, all answering our own shit, right? We need to connect with other people. I was just telling Kat today, I was like, thank you so much for giving birth to your best friend. I didn't even have to try hard. I just got born to you and like, we're best friends. And guess what? I just got handed you and she had to go through labor to get me, but like, I just woke up and had a best friend. Like, I love it. Cause we've been pretty close, our whole lives with a small period in between when I was like in the military and doing my own thing. But when we come back together, we're truly best friends. And the way that we're able to talk to each other about situations, even when we think it's embarrassing, even when we don't want to be judged by each other, we feel so much better after we've done it. And we're like, I knew I'd tell you that and you'd help me see something out of that.
I always feel like we do that with each other. So I would like to, for our last little story of the night that doesn't have, and you've called this man hater a couple of times.
I mean,
this isn't man hater. What this, although it can come across like that, but this is about unhealthy conversations that we have, unhealthy conversations with men, and unhealthy interactions with men. Interactions and conversations with men, where we as women are trying to navigate the world as it is today with the experiences that we've had in the past, and keep ourselves safe, and stand up for ourselves, and stand up for ourselves, and not let people just make us feel like shit when we didn't do fucking anything except get up and go out the door in the morning and look cute and look nice, not for you, motherfucker, but for me. I did this for me. I'm not doing this for you, So that's what this is really about. But there is, our last story is going to be about, Jayme had an interesting thing happen to her. Where, and again, this year we're going to be talking a lot about patterns and our life patterns and how we eventually see them, where hopefully we get to a place where we can recognize the patterns. We can admit them to ourselves. We can talk to our friends.
You make the connection.
We make the connection between what happened then and what's happening now and how that's making us feel the way we did now. So with that in mind, Jayme.
Listen, I've let you guys know that I've really decided that I'm going to embrace who I am with my clothes, with my outside self. I've been working on this for a while, especially because I got to show up online, right? I got to show up in camera. And I want to be authentic to myself all the time. I don't want to just be authentic to myself when I show up to my witch community. I want to be me all the time. And that's been very hard for me because of my bad interactions with not just men, but also with women. I was bullied all through school by girls for no fucking reason other than I guess I was an easy target. I don't know. But I've not been able to have a lot of really good connections with women within friendships. And when I have thought that we're close, I've realized later that I've been lied to, or that they're keeping things from me, or they're not who they say they are, or because I am trusting and I really want to give people the benefit of the doubt, all the time. So my friendships with women, I really started trying when I started this community in 2020. When I decided the New Witches meetup, I really was I just want women in my life now. I want to make those good women friendships.
If it's some women, if we can draw women to you that are on the same vibrational level, then you can feel like that's a place where you have a trust and an understanding. Nurturing.
It's you can be honest with them you can't be with anybody else. There's so many benefits to women trusting, loving, and uplifting each other. And I've experienced that so much in the last 5 years. And I have to say, Joellen is one of the women in our lives that when I'm around her, I'm she is the epitome of the woman that I would want to emanate as I get older. Yeah, truly. She has so much love and kindness and good stuff to say. And oh my God, Joellen, do you have any flaws?
She rarely ever says anything that is,
there's just such a connectedness.
It's inspirational, it is. Honestly.
It's very inspirational. And to be able to find a woman that you can look up to sometimes is really hard. I know Kat is my best friend. She's also my mother. So we're not exactly the same. So although I look up to her for many things, that's not where my relationship goes in terms of finding women who I have a lot in common with. Because we have a lot in common. But I'm there's witch friends within us that I'm closer with. Yeah. Right? Yeah. Brianna or Brianna, so we have our witch friends and Amber. I know Amber. Yeah. Oh my gosh. Yeah. So there's just these women that we connect with more and that we'll spend more time with. Anyways, I'm getting way off topic.
On a different level. Yes. Are you avoiding?
No, I'm trying
she's prefacing. She's telling you the story before the story, and I'm not sure.
And I'm even getting a little thing in my throat because this is throat chakra stuff, you guys. This is speaking your truth. This is admitting to yourself where it's been really difficult. And having relationships with women has been very difficult for me on the trust side of it, on giving them my all and not being betrayed or whatever. But what happened that really set off a trigger within myself that was an old pattern that just fucking showed up that I didn't even expect. And I realized it is the moment that it happened. I've been dressing like my authentic self, which I feel great about. And I get lots of compliments that are just that. They're not the ask for your number compliments. They're like, oh my God, I love your outfit. And oftentimes I will find something that I love about them too. Like we have an eye connection. And then this is mostly women where it's like, I told you about the girl at Hardest.
With the hair.
Oh my gosh.
With the beautiful
We're literally
hair.
like, there's a huge counter in front of us. And so I can only see her upper body and she can only see like my upper body. And I loved her hair. And when she came around the corner, she like realized she loved whatever outfit I was wearing. And we were at the same time, we were like, oh my God, I love your hair, your outfit. And we like did this whole spinning little thing together. It was so cute. And I was like, that pumped me up so much. Like women giving women compliments and just lifting each other up and being like, girl, I love the way you look amazing today. Like I want to do more of that. And I'm trying to promote more of that too by dopamine dressing. That's what I'm calling this. I'm dopamine dressing. I'm dressing for myself. I'm dressing for the way that makes me happy. And when it makes other women happy and they're like, oh my God, I love your fucking outfit. It feels really good because I'm like, you can do this too. Yes, go dress. I hope I inspire you to do that because somebody inspired me to do this. So anyway, I'm at Walmart the other day. I think it was literally yesterday. I can't believe all this is happening like at the time we're recording the podcast. Like it was just, it's so apropos for real. So I was at Walmart yesterday. And again, I don't like going out in public. I don't like stores. I don't like being inconvenienced by other humans. I don't really like the whole human experience when you're out and it's all like crazy, right?
It's a crazy time.
My ADHD and my autism just are like,
it's season here. So there's too many people
I don't like it.
Everywhere.
It's overstimulating. I get overstimulated very easily out there with other people.
Yeah.
But anyway,
me too.
I'm literally, as I go out, I have either songs in my head, I'm repeating things to myself. I'm really not trying to absorb other people's energies. I'm just really about like what I'm doing, staying in my space, like owning my space where I'm at, right? Me pushing my fucking cart through all the aisles and not knowing where I'm going and like what am I picking up and all that. But anyways, I get out to my car and I had like put my groceries away and then put my cart away. And then there's a woman walking towards me with her cart. And she goes, oh my God, I love your outfit so much. I saw you in the store and I was thinking that, and now you're here. And I just crumpled. My posture even. I'm pulling my arms into myself. I tuck my fists under my chin and our cars are right next to each other. And all of a sudden I got so fucking awkward because she's talking to me and she's so elated. Like she's so happy to like see me and be able to tell me this. And I was like, thank you so much. But I knew I was going to have to tell her as she's getting into her car, I need to get into my car. And I don't know why I started to just like sheer panic of like, oh my God, I have to tell her I need to get in my car and I need her to move out of the way. And like, I don't know how to say this politely. And I was like, I don't want this interaction to happen. And so instead of like standing there, and we're going to do body language stuff, you guys. So when you're
sorry
thinking
if
about
you're
stuff,
just listening.
I know,
so
but I'm
just
going to
do a good
explain it.
job
I'm going
of
to explain it. Yeah. So
describe.
Like your elbows and your arms are in and you're covering your chest. Like you're almost making a shield over your breasts, right? Like you're shielding up. And this was the behavior that I sort of went into. You're making yourself small. You're bringing it in because you don't feel safe. Like whatever.
Your shoulders come up to your ears.
Yeah,
your
this is your
shoulders
body.
come up to your ears. Your whole upper body just kind of like closes in.
Crinkles in. Yeah. It actually hurts my neck when I do that now. But this is when they say your body remembers the traumas and you end up doing an involuntary movement like that. This is where you can really feel trauma in your body that you don't even know is there. And it just happens and you're like, what the fuck just happened to me? Because now I have to force myself to like relax, open my arms up, claim my space, like make yourself bigger, own where you're at. Do that when you start closing yourself off. You're like, no. I'm owning my space. I'm allowed to take up space. I get to be here. But in this instant, when she was so happy. And what I did was, this is my bad trait. She was maybe older than me. I don't know. Like I assumed she was older than me because in my head, I'm still like 30. I don't know. I'm 45 almost, but I still see myself as like a younger person who's maybe not valued, not seen as like I know shit. Like maybe I look like I'm not smart. these are all things from my past that have happened before where because I'm kind, people see me as stupid. So it was a very much like, oh my God, what does she actually think of me? Maybe this isn't real. What she's telling me is a lie. Like she's just being nice because, and I can feel the shoulders
wasn't
go
it
up.
that she was, you made a
I made an assumption. I know I'm getting to that.
Okay,
it's terrible to admit. It's like, you don't want to admit these things.
I'm sorry. I'm making her admit it
She was-
only just because I think it can help other people recognize patterns
Yeah,
too.
absolutely.
And that's the point of telling the
when
story.
we see people that are different than us, we make assumptions about them that we're not the same, that we wouldn't like the same things. And yet she's complimenting me on my witchy outfit. And I could have taken the time to say, oh my gosh, what are you interested in? Like, oh, tell me what you do. I could have made so much more conversation and built this like really hearty thing. And instead I shriveled up and I judged her and I was like, she's, dressed in athletic leisure wear. She, her short hair that was under a ball cap, like the way that I just absolutely judged a book by the cover made me think I have nothing in common with this woman. And this is probably not an authentic interaction because I don't see how we would ever be on the same page. Like I shriveled up and thought, no way, this is, authentic, or like she's just saying it to be nice. I went into so many bad things from starting in high school, right? Starting with the bullying where people pretend to be nice to you and then they lure you into believing that the football player wants to date you and they give you a fake note. And there's like all the little dramatizations that have happened that are so weird. And like, why would somebody do that? My body went back there and I physically reacted to it. And then I got nervous and then I couldn't talk and I shrunk myself and I was like, that's my car and I need to get in there. Oh, like all apologetic and shit. Like I didn't deserve to ask her to please excuse me. I need to get into my car while you're getting into your car. Or I could have just waited. I could have owned my space and sat there fucking confidently. Like I had just been in the store for 30 minutes and she saw me and said she had seen me walking through the store and loved my outfit and was so glad she got to see me again so she could tell me about it. She even had doubts. She saw me in the store and we could have had an interaction right there in the store. And I don't know, maybe it would have been better for me because then I wouldn't have had to ask her to like move out of the way. But me just asserting myself in that way of being like, oh, you're blocking the door to my car. I'm sorry. I need to get in there. Sorry. Like, ooh, can I disturb you for a second? Can I just like get in my car, my space that I own, please? What the fuck was that? I literally got in my car and I still felt the tension in my shoulders, like being up of like nervous and like my fists are even clenched, like at my side, like I'm standing like a toy soldier almost, that very like strict, so fucking weird. And I can't even tell you the last time that would have happened to me. And I don't even know why it happened to me with her. But now I truly see it as because, of course, then for the next 6 hours before Kat got home from her trip and then we talked about everything, I was like analyzing that shit of what the fuck was that? Who did you just become and why and what? And like, what were you afraid of? And that was like an opportunity that you missed. And you could have talked to this woman. You guys could have become friends. You just like, why'd you do that to yourself? And so I had this realization because I'm wearing close to the same outfit that I was wearing that day, which I do think was yesterday because I like to recycle.
It was
outfits.
yesterday because yesterday is when I got home.
Yeah, because if I don't wear my outfits longer than like 3 or 4 hours, that bitch is getting worn again without washing.
Absolutely.
I'm not washing.
Same girl, same.
Less laundry. Sorry. I don't go out and like run marathons in my clothes, so they're good.
Yeah.
So when I was getting dressed today and I was thinking about it, because we had talked about it a little bit, but like there was still I was still ruminating. And my epiphany today is, you know what I just decided, you guys? That if another woman, not a man, if another woman comes up to me and is like, I like your outfit, I'm going to stand there and I'm going to continue that conversation until she wants to leave. The opportunities that I'm being given by the universe, by spirit guides, by their guides, by our guides, what could have been such a healing interaction between me and this woman, I fucked up. Like, that's how I feel now. I feel like I fucked that up. And then when I was telling Kat the story tonight about it, and I said it, that I won't be the first to let go. I won't be the first to end the conversation. I'm not going to be the one to end it. I thought about in whatever, I don't know which movie it was, either the Errors movie or whatever, but Taylor Swift is talking about how when she was giving the kids the 22 hat, I don't know if you guys are familiar with Taylor Swift, like I find her as a very big inspiration for a woman standing her fucking ground. You know, David actually was inspired by her because the way she takes the stage and stands and speaks.
David, your old boss?
My old boss, who was a leadership trainer and was like, this is how you own space on a stage, because that's what we did. We give, he gave like TED Talks and shit like that. So a big public speaker. And he's like, look at Taylor Swift. And I was like, Taylor Swift? Like, he didn't know I was a massive fan, but to just watch her own her own space. One of the things she said in the interviews or whatever is that when she goes to give the kids the 22 hat and they hug her, she never lets go first. Because imagine what that feels like to them. If you are being, I'm going to say blessed with the fact that somebody is in admiration of you and they have the courage to tell you that, they come forward and they blow through all of their red stop signs about getting rejected and what somebody might think of them. And they're just like, I got to tell you, or I'm so happy to be in this moment, or like, I am now going to consider that as like, I'm not going to let go first. And if I'm going to try to hug the next woman who gives me a compliment. If we're able to have that conversation, if the time allows for it, I'm going to end that with a fucking hug, because that is a trauma of mine. Physical touch and affection from other people fucking weirds me out. I get worried that like, was that too long? Is that sexual? Do you hug? Like, is it a pat? What do you do? Questioning
yourself. Yeah.
Not having the confidence around that because of all of my other, bad sexual encounters where things should have been really fucking normal. I mean, it goes back to the counselor who hugged me and said, let me see if you feel as good as you look, know?
Exactly,
so like a simple hug for me can be really triggering. And I think now the way that I'm going to work through that is that when I'm making a connection with a strange woman in a parking lot in Walmart, but when I get to have those moments, I'm going to use that opportunity to heal little parts of myself slowly. One odd woman at a time, one stranger at a time. I don't know what to say about that, but
all right,
I'm ready. And I can't wait to tell you guys how it works out, because I'm telling you, I've been dressing like this for like a month and a half. I get a lot of compliments, which is another part of healing myself, right? How do you feel when somebody compliments you? Are you able to own that and just feel good about it? Are you able to take that and be like, they didn't want anything else from me other than to tell me they like my outfit, they like the way I look. Yeah. It's not sexual. I'm not being seen as an object. This is a compliment to your aesthetic, what you chose.
So Jayme has a plan with her revelation this week, what she realized about herself.
Yeah.
But I don't yet. And this is where I'd like to leave this tonight.
Okay.
I'd like to leave this with, I'm going to read the text message that I got from the dude. And I would love your comments about like, what would you say? Because I haven't, let me just back up and say I deleted a bunch of my message. His was one of them. And then I had to go back. For some reason, something happened. I was like, okay, restore messages. And so his message is there. And I was like, and Jayme's like, that's the universe giving you another opportunity.
Yeah.
So here's the opportunity. So here's your opportunity to get involved and tell me what you would think. And I'm not in a hurry.
Reaching out for ideas, comments.
Okay.
What you would say.
So here's what what he wrote. I'm sorry if I offended you. Was not my intention. I really enjoyed our limited time together and hope you'll reach out the next time you're in town. I think you're quite beautiful and intriguing. Safe travels. See you next time. With a smiley, blushing face. But that's the first time I read the whole thing, because all I read when I deleted it was, I'm sorry I offended you. And I just want to be like, fuck off and delete. But I don't know exactly how to respond yet. It's something I'm going to be thinking through, but I would love to know what you think.
Well, one of the things that I said to you, this was my comeback for her, is that this is the universe giving her the opportunity to find the words to tell somebody sternly.
Find my words. Yeah.
Find your words.
That's what I have
your
to.
Words.
That's the point where I'm at. It's like, I'm going to continue to have these interactions and feel weird about it and be uncomfortable and act shy, like I'm a little girl still, and not able to stand up for myself when I'm a grown ass woman, but I don't have my words and I need to find my words.
This is what I talk about when I say I want to help women like reclaim their power. Yeah. That's a power thing, right?
Yeah.
It's a power thing.
So
when we're able to find our words, assert ourselves in the world, claim our space, be good with what we do, like that is where we're powerful, because we know what the fuck we want and what we don't want. I mean, when my husband and I were still friendly, we knew we liked each other. Like there was a lot of flirtatious stuff, before we started dating, like in the months before that. But no physical touching, no, I don't want to, because I didn't want him to see me as a sexual being. I was like, I want you to like me first. I wouldn't even let him say, like, don't compliment me on my looks. Tell me I'm smart. Give me something else, right?
Go beyond the
that.
physical.
Like, that's
you want men to recognize, or people, not just men, but you want people to recognize that you're more than just your physical,
your external, right?
Your physical appearance. Yeah.
There was a time when he asked if he could kiss me, and I said no to him. There was a time that happened, and he just kind of looked at me like, I thought you liked me. And I was like, I do, but I'm not going to rush this, there will be a day for that, but it is not today. And being able to say that, I mean, those marks are huge in my mind, and it definitely stood out to him. So imagine how that changed him and his perception with being able to hear a woman just be like, no, not today. Yeah. Like, I'm not saying I don't like you at all, but I'm saying not today. I'm not at that place yet with you. That's not what I'm looking for at that moment. I think the more honest that we can be with ourselves and other people, the better relationships can go. And the more that you don't have to like run away from things or be embarrassed by them. And if you're speaking your truth, So here's something. What are several different things that you would have said in that moment for the kiss thing?
I mean, something like, I don't know you well enough.
That's a great one.
I don't know
it's
you.
It's not super offensive.
I don't know you well enough.
Right.
I just met you.
Yeah.
We just met. I don't know you. I'm not there. I'm not in that. I think I don't know you well enough, or we just met is fine. Cause I think that's really weird to want to like kiss somebody when you don't even fucking know them. Like, I don't want to kiss people that I don't know.
No. Mm-mm.
And I don't want to kiss people that I'm not attracted to. I mean, not that like I said, it wasn't that kind of an interaction for me. It was just like, just getting to know. Cause
what if you said, I don't think of you like that? Because that's really honest, right?
Yeah, I don't think of you like that. That's that's honest, and that would cut off anything for the future. And I guess maybe there's a part of me that was like open to something developing. Maybe, and he just moved really fast. I just thought he's just moving like way too fast for my comfort level. And maybe that's another thing to say.
You could say that too.
Is like, this is too fast for me. It's like, I'm not comfortable with this. I mean, that's very honest and very direct. So. I
love the exploration of saying it in an honest way, not in a pissed off way, not in an angry way, you know? Like,
I think I was more mad at myself
afterward.
I was more, when I looked at the message, I'm not offended. I just thought, fuck you, but the fuck you was real. I feel like it was not as much directed at him as it was my own self being annoyed with myself that I didn't handle it better. That I was, although I was offended, I was like, really? You had to go there, didn't you? Because it was fine. And then I would have looked forward to seeing you the next time that I'm in Kansas City and I'm down eating at Martin City Pizza.
Yeah.
But now if I go to Martin City Pizza, and unless I clear this up, and depending how that goes, when I do respond to it, depending how that interaction goes, now it's just going to be awkward, and I don't know. Do I got to go somewhere else? Guess what? I'm not going to go somewhere else. I'll go exactly where I want to go. And I don't give a fuck if he's sitting down at the end of the bar. That's something I can say confidently right now.
There you go.
If I don't talk to him,
you'll still own your space.
I'll still own my space. I won't let that keep me from going there and eating, because I did like their food, and it was, it was really close. It was convenient and it was easy and all that. So
you got one part of the puzzle figured out.
So I got one part of it figured out, but like where it goes, what happens, I don't know.
How do we find our words?
Yeah.
And I guess on a closing note, it does remind me of that DARE program in school, right? Just say no to drugs.
Uh-huh.
Like there was this weird part where you did practice actually saying no to somebody offering you drugs. They had you literally rehearse it.
What did you have to say?
No.
Just no?
You just had to say, they had to like pretend they would have like this fucking person dressed up like a,
drug dealer,
I guess, like some guy in a corner trying to offer you marijuana, oh my God.
Oh my God, not marijuana.
Like crack and heroin. It's something really bad, but just like marijuana or alcohol, I guess. But we're in sixth grade.
Marijuana is the gateway drug, right? We all know that. Yeah.
I gateway myself all the way into my adulthood. It's that it's a really good thing to do psychologically when you're preparing for something, that you have your answer ahead of time so that you can rehearse it, especially when it's a new pattern to start, to be able to say no.
Yeah.
I can say that starting rumors
no
about,
is a whole no is a full sentence.
No is a full sentence.
Yeah.
That's right. I forgot her name who said that. It's the Mary Kate and Ashley's younger sister. Shit.
Mary Kate. Oh, yeah. Elizabeth. Elizabeth Olsen.
Elizabeth Olsen said that.
Yeah.
That her parents, her dad told her that no is a full sentence, or her sisters told her that. And it's like, that's a fucking awesome way to think about it. No is a full sentence. Like, that's it.
And also,
no explaining.
And you know what?
You don't have to do anything.
You know what
Just
I think? No answer is an answer.
But then that's also not addressing the situation. So I'm urging
those of you, so for those of you who are just listening, I held up my phone and I'm like, because I'm indicating I'm not going to answer, but I am going to answer. But I would love to hear from you out there in the comments about what you might say, or if
you've handled something like this before.
Yeah,
I mean, I imagine this happens to a lot of us.
It happens a lot. And then if you have a story where you're like, wow, share it. Please share it. So I guess that we'll close it up for tonight.
Absolutely.
And
absolutely.
We will see you on the next podcast. And we love you very much. We're here for you.
Thank you for being with us.
7greatsisters@gmail.com. If you want to reach out about something really personal and you want to talk about something, reach out to us.
Yes.
Otherwise, we'll see you on the next time.
All right.
Bye,
love
witches.
You, bye.